With Easter fast approaching and our kids becoming inspired by all things related to this time of year, here are a few ideas of things that you can make and do with your kids, but with a bit of extra learning thrown in, so that you can really ensure you get the most out of each activity. Everything from learning about changes of state and melting, while making yummy Easter nest cakes, to working on math skills with artistic potato prints, and more science and vocabulary work while crafting spring daffodils. If this sounds like something interesting to you, please hit that subscribe button now, and let's get started. First up, Easter nest cakes. A classic recipe, but a great one. We've probably all made these at some point with our own children, or when we were children ourselves. But there are a few things that you can do to really maximise the learning involved, without making things harder for you. And as busy parents, that's exactly what we need. First, we need to make it accessible to everyone. I almost delayed making these with my eldest, because he found them really hard to bite into. And the egg-shaped sweets that were on the top were recommended for 3+, and I was a bit worried about that. But here's a top tip. I discovered that mixing a little bit of golden syrup or melted butter into the chocolate makes them so much softer and easier for little ones to eat. I also substituted the eggs on top for toy chicks on some of the nest cakes. He was much happier with these anyway. It's the flexibility of this simple recipe that's the key to it for me. You can use any cereal that you have or your kids like. You can use dark chocolate, milk chocolate, or dairy-free chocolate. The possibilities are endless. After collecting all the appropriate ingredients for your family, we begin cooking by melting the chocolate. I ask the children to help me break up the chocolate and place it into a bowl. As we work, I question them on what the chocolate looks like and what it feels like. I introduce some more scientific terms for their description as we go. We establish that the chocolate is an example of a solid. It's quite hard. What else is solid? We talk about that. Then I place the bowl into the microwave, although melting chocolate can be done on the hob over a pan of boiling water too. This is a bit more dangerous, of course, so you have to take care. It doesn't take long in the microwave for the chocolate to melt. Once I removed it from the microwave, we examine the chocolate again. What's happened to the chocolate? How has it changed? I ask. Again, the children offer their ideas, and I try and adjust their explanation to include more scientific terms. Now the chocolate has melted, it's no longer a solid. It's become a liquid. It can now be poured. It flows. For older children, you could even discuss how the particles have gained more heat energy, causing them to move more freely. This is linked to Key Stage 2 science in England, if that's where you live. At this point, you add the syrup or melted butter if you wish, and the cereal of your choice. This is a great chance for young children to practice their counting. You can instruct them to add a certain number of scoops or handfuls, and then assess with them. Oh, I think we're going to need some more. Can you add another handful? How many handfuls have we put in altogether now? This sort of talk will help them with word problems in maths when they get older. Once you are happy with the consistency of the mixture, spoon it carefully into cake cases. Place 1 spoonful in each case. This is great for helping children with one-to-one recognition, which is key to counting and understanding maths. And the process of using your spoon helps the children to practice their fine motor skills. If 1 spoonful is too little and doesn't fill the case, you can add more maths vocabulary by saying things like, "Oh, that's only half full. Let's add some more and fill it up completely." Talking about full, half full and empty. Make a little well in each cake with the back of the spoon and decorate it. If you choose to use little eggs, you could count on 2 or 3 for the top of each cake. This is a great opportunity to start looking at multiplication and division for older children. You could ask questions like, if there are 3 eggs on 1 cake, how many will there be on 2? Or to really challenge your child, ask them to count how many eggs are in the pack and ask how many cakes can be made from that number of eggs. This will really test their thinking, especially if the amount of eggs doesn't divide equally. Leave the finished Easter nest cakes to cool and harden slightly. Examine and discuss the change one last time before you tuck in. A well-deserved treat after so much learning. Next up, Easter egg potato printing. Potato printing is a really fun and easy way to make great Easter artwork with even the youngest of children. This activity requires a little bit of preparation on your part, but the results are amazing. We use it to make Easter cards, and people are always amazed that the kids made them themselves. You need to cut and carve the potatoes in advance. But the patterns can be really quite simple, or you can also use small cookie cutters. We have a set of these that I think are meant for icing. They work brilliantly. Once the potatoes are ready, the child can simply cover them in paint and print them onto paper. Try adding the paint to different sections with a paintbrush to get a multicoloured look. There are also lots of hidden learning opportunities here too, which of course I love. First, we discuss how printing works. We look carefully at the potato together. What have I done to the potato? I ask. We talk about how I've cut into it. How does it feel? Is it smooth or bumpy? We examine the way that cutting the potato like this means that some parts are higher and some parts are lower. Which of these bits is going to get paint on when I place it into the paint tray? Which bits of it will touch the paper when we print? Once they're ready to go, we also talk about the colours that we will use. For my youngest, this helps him to recognise and name the colours. For my eldest, we can talk about mixing paint to make different colours. If you have a range of different designs or colours, you can do some work around patterns. For young children, you can make a pattern and ask them to copy it. For older children, you could ask them to predict what will come next in a repeating pattern. The simplest patterns will be made from 2 alternating designs, but you can make it more complicated by adding 3 or even 4. Learning about and spotting repeating patterns can be beneficial for building early maths and early reading skills. Challenge your child to see how many different patterns they can make with just 2 egg designs. There will be a lot more than they first think. Once the child has finished printing and the artwork has dried, an Easter message can be added inside the card. Sending these to family and friends is a great motivation for writing. An older child can write at length, but a younger one might just be encouraged to write their own name, or simply to use it as an opportunity for mark making as they pretend to write their own message. I would also like to take this opportunity to mention the Curious Kids 101 shop. I have a range of Easter products available for purchase, alongside the usual learning packs and routine charts. So please head over there and check them out. The link is in the description. And finally, daffodil craft. We love seeing daffodils in our garden and in the parks. So that we could have a nice display at home, we decided to make our own using this daffodil craft. It was also a great way to introduce plant vocabulary, and perfect for science learning with our little ones. This craft works really well for little ones, although older children can enjoy it too. It's quite simple, but involves a few different skills, and you can step in and help with any part of it. But yet they'll still have that accomplishment that they made it. There's cutting, painting and gluing involved here. It also provides a great opportunity to discuss the different parts of the daffodil and build up the child's understanding of plants, using correct vocabulary while they craft. We looked at the daffodils in our garden. What colours are they? I asked. We discussed how they are often yellow, although they can be every different shade, from orange through yellow to almost white. They're green here, said my youngest, pointing to the stem. This leads us on to discussing the different parts of the plant. I showed him the petals, trumpet, stem, leaves, and we talked about the roots under the soil. To make the daffodil, we cut out a cardboard shape for the petals. "What is this piece of the flower called?" I asked. "And what colour are the petals on a daffodil?" "Can you find that colour of paint?" We painted the petals yellow and left them to dry while we prepared the green lollistic stem with similar questioning to help reinforce vocabulary. We also cut out some long, straight daffodil leaf shapes. "These leaves are very long and thin," I said to my child. "Are all leaves this shape?" We looked back at our autumn leaf printing that we did and discussed the different shapes, using lots of size and shape vocabulary. Once the paint was dry, we glued the pieces of our daffodil together. The painted yellow petals, the green leaves, were stuck onto the lolly stick, and then on top of the petals we stuck a cake case for the daffodil trumpet. Once we had made them, they were ready to be displayed. They'll be a great way to help us get our home decorated, ready for Easter. So there you have it, 3 Easter-themed craft ideas to inspire you to do some learning with your kids. Have a great Easter, and let me know which of these ideas you try.